All right, as promised on Sunday, we added a new term to our theological vocabulary, and that's dispensationalism. Okay, there are people in our church that hold to dispensationalism, I believe. I do not personally, but and we're not going to be preaching through Revelation from a dispensational perspective. But what I want you to understand what it is, understand it for its merits, and why people believe it, because there's some really good verses and some good theology to understand what's going on there. Okay, so dispensationalism is not just relegated to Revelation. It is an understanding that God's promises to Israel will be fulfilled, and he still sees them as distinct from the church. And so God treats Israel in different ways because his relationship to them was formed under a different dispensation, different time than ours is. And so they actually believe that there's 7 different dispensations. And you can Google that. And this actually goes and feeds into a lot of understanding of Scripture for them. But Revelation is really kind of where the rubber meets the road in the contrast between how God deals with the Jewish people and Christians. Okay, and so what they would go to is Genesis chapter 12, verse 1, when God calls Abram, who he later renames to Abraham. He says, "Now the Lord." This is Genesis 12:1. "Now the Lord said to Abram, Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." And so they would look at that and they go, that's true. And yes, there's a state of Israel that's been formed in 1947, 48, I'm not sure. But that there's something more, something bigger. They still don't have the actual land that God had promised to them geographically, like latitudes and longitudes, right? And then we read in Deuteronomy 7:6, "For you are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for his treasured possession out of all the peoples who are on the face of the earth." And so he establishes that, like, God chose them. And he certainly chose to send the Messiah through the Jewish people, right? And so, but they would say that he's chosen him he has chosen them for an enduring purpose and plan. And we actually read this in Romans chapter 11, where Paul describes this. He says in Romans chapter 11, verse 25, "Lest you be wise in your own sight, I do not want you to be unaware of this mystery, brothers. A partial hardening has come upon Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles," that's us, "has come in. And in this way all Israel will be saved. As it is written, the deliverer will come from Zion, and he will banish ungodliness from Jacob, and this will be my covenant with them when I take away their sins." And they would include that as their rejection of the Messiah. Verse 28, "As regards the gospel, they are enemies for your sake, but as regards election, they are beloved for the sake of their forefathers. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable." And so they would look at this and they would say, God has a special plan and purpose for the Jewish people. And so what they would then look at then from this is in Revelation chapter 4, they see God deals with the Jewish people differently than he does Christians. So in Revelation chapter 4, they see that John going up to heaven is symbolic of the church going up to heaven. So after the churches are described in chapters 2 and 3 and chapter 4, they're gone. And that's the secret rapture of Christian believers. And those who are going through the tribulation are the Jewish people, and they are paying as discipline for their rejection of the Messiah, and they will come to faith during the tribulation. And so at the end, we will all be together with God, whether you were Jewish or Christian. Now, the verse that says, "And so all Israel will be saved," there's a lot of ink spilt on this. Is that all anybody that's ever been Jewish? Well, we don't really read that in the Old Testament, because it seems as though there were people that were rebellious, even though they were Jewish, right? And so there's a lot of different interpretations on that. Is it just the people that are alive? Is there some sort of retroactive thing? And how exactly does that play out? But that is, by and large, dispensationalism. I'm going to record a second video, because I think I need to, on covenantal theology, and it's super primer as well. It'll probably be 5 minutes long, and it will explain kind of the other interpretation of those. All right. Love you guys.